Your Weight Matters, Obesity Action Coalition 2017, New Orleans. Welcome to Your Weight Matters 2017 in beautiful New Orleans, Louisiana. I am so thrilled to be here. This is a unique conference. There's nothing else like it in the whole wide world where we get together medical practitioners, bariatric surgeons, researchers, even a veterinarian like me to talk about one thing, and that is living with obesity and how can we overcome some of the biases and actually live healthier lives, and what does the research tell us? I mean, this conference is amazing. I'm thrilled to be a part of it, and we're going to share with you some of the insights, highlights, maybe even talk to some of the key players here and get some interesting stories about people living with obesity. So, Your Weight Matters 2017. Well, today we have a special treat for you. This is one of not only my inspirations and mentors in the world of fighting obesity, but he is one of the iconic figures in obesity management for humans. This is Dr. Robert, or Bob Kushner, as we all call him.
Thank you, Ernie.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. And Bob, how long have you been in this fight?
35 years.
Wow,
which
35 years.
Is a long time. I originally got interested in nutrition and recognized early on that obesity was probably, not that I was that forecasting that much, but that really was an unmet need 35 years ago, and it's still an unmet need, although we're getting more and more people involved.
Right. And Bob, that seems to be a common, journey for a lot of us. We sort of latched onto nutrition. We saw the benefits of the overall impact on our health, whether it's our pet patients or our human patients. And then, of course, that backed us into things like obesity. What have you seen what's the biggest advancement that you've seen in your 35 years of fighting obesity?
I think some of the advancements is recognizing obesity as a serious public health problem, and we're moving towards declaring it a disease. So the American Medical Association 2013 declared it a disease. Not that that's a formal need, but it really brings to the idea that it needs to be taken seriously.
Right.
And with that public interest, I think we have people thinking more about how do I manage my weight. How do I start eating healthier, being more physically active, and not so much that it's genes, it's meant to be, it's willpower, but there's something that could be done about it. The other are things like medication and bariatric surgery. So we have more tools available now to help people manage their weight.
Now, many people may not know this, but you actually helped co-author a book about pet obesity many years ago.
I did Fitness Unleashed.
That's right.
With Marty Becker.
Yeah, our good friend Marty Becker. You did a study that to this day is a landmark.
Yeah, it's one of the most fun studies I've ever done. And we see so many individuals who are struggling with their weight who also have a dog who's overweight. So we had this idea of why don't we see how people do managing their weight and manage the dog's weight at the same time. And we compared it to a group of individuals who were not pet owners. What we found at the end of the year is the dogs did great.
Right.
They lost 16% of their body weight. They were healthy. The owners did well as well, but not as well as the dogs. But the most fascinating outcome of that study is when we did narrative assessments of what was it about pet ownership that made a difference. And we found some very interesting observations. It was the whole idea of budding up with your dog. It was the enjoyment of walking with your dog. It was that the dog prompted them to be more physically active. And the other thing is that ownership, and that is that if it's important for my dog, I'm going to do it for myself. Right. So it's very important take-home messages for dog owners.
You continue to expand your area of influence. It's an honor and pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I am here with a very special guest. This is Dr. Scott Kahan, all the way from George Washington University. You might know him from the Stop Obesity Alliance. This guy has literally written the book on pharmacotherapy for obesity. So Scott, thanks for taking time.
Thank you very much.
In the veterinary world, we don't really have a lot of pharmacotherapy for combating or treating or anything to do with obesity.
You don't have a lot or you don't have any?
We don't have any.
Right.
Zero.
Right.
Zero drugs currently in the U.S. approved for that. How did it get started in the human side, and how's it gained such legitimacy today?
Going back 7 decades or so, we have had some degree of options for pharmacotherapy in humans, and they were few and far between for quite a while. Only in the last 5-6 years have we had more options, and now we have a reasonable number. We have about 10 medications that are approved for obesity, 5 of which are approved for long-term use. It's more than we've had, but it's still not that many. So for hypertension in humans, there are more than 100 medications that are approved. So still, if we could get more options, that'd be ideal, but we're in a better place right now in terms of treatment availability.
So how does drug treatment for obesity stack up compared to, say, surgical treatments?
So there's a pretty clear hierarchy of the average amount that you can see. So with good behavioral counseling, you get about 5 to 10% weight loss. With good behavioral counseling plus pharmacotherapy, FDA-approved pharmacotherapy, you can get between 5 and 15% weight loss, sometimes a little bit more. And then with bariatric surgery and counseling, you can get between 15 and 30%, depending on the type of surgery. So you don't get as much on average with pharmacotherapy as you do with bariatric surgery, but you get a nice intermediate amount between just counseling and bariatric surgery.
Wow. So what do you think about the future? What's on the horizon out there? There's some new drugs that are about to be launched, or some research that's really groundbreaking?
There aren't new drugs that are immediately about to be launched, but there's quite a bit in the pipeline. Within the next 3-4 years, very, very likely another 3 or 4 medications could be coming available, and hopefully more thereafter. There's a lot more interest and innovation in research now in obesity, and hopefully that'll mean better treatment options, being able to treat patients better, and maybe even that'll spill over into dogs as well. Who knows? Well,
Scott, thanks again for all you're doing to help with obesity, and thanks for sharing some of your knowledge with us today.
Thank you.
And then bring it over to us on the Vet World. We need you. This is tremendous need, because really what you're trying to do is to raise awareness of obesity, just sort of like we do on the pet side, but more importantly, you're fighting weight bias. Just a quick explanation of what is weight bias and what does the OAC have to do with that?
Yeah, weight bias is one of the most important things, one of the most important fights that we fight. So really weight bias is anything that folks see in the daily world that has to do with people who are affected by obesity being unfairly targeted, discriminated against based on their size or their weight or their health status, if you will. And so as the OAC, we try to empower our members and the public as well to stand up against that and fight the unjust wrongdoings that folks every day face, the shame and blame for their weight, as well as all of the things that are out in the media that just portray individuals with obesity completely inaccurately.
Right. I mean, we would never imagine going around saying, haha, you have cancer, look at that funny cancer person. And that's really sort of the battle. That's why you hear people like me and others, we stress that obesity is a disease and it needs to be treated with that respect.
Yep,
so Kristy,
absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me
No,
here.
thank you for being here.
This
We're
is really
honored.
exciting. And I mean, guys, I really wish you could be here. I know this video can only show a little bit, but it is truly remarkable, the sense of community and camaraderie and just positivity that you have created around this tough topic. So thank you.
Thank you for
She's
being
awesome.
here. Appreciate it.
Tools we use and suggest to healthcare providers about talking to people with obesity might work just as well in talking with owners of pets who have obesity. One of the big things is asking permission. I could see a vet saying to the owner, would you mind if I talk to you about your pet's weight?
Yeah. Or is that
To
something
start
you
the
would like to talk about
conversation.
today? Right, that's good.
Yes.
Yep, asking
Especially asking permission is big, and not ignoring what the problem is that they came in to see you for in the first place, assuming it's other than a routine annual physical. You know, if the dog or the cat has a broken leg, let's pay attention to that.
Right. Like we say, don't let obesity derail the examination.
Right.
Because
That's right.
suddenly we make it all about the weight of the
Right.
pet, and we kind of forget they have heart failure.
Right.
So listen.
Yeah, that's right. But I suspect, not a vet, never tried this, but in general, human patients react better when it's a very respectful conversation and they're just asked about whether they're comfortable talking about it. And I have a kitty myself and have had several over the years and a dog. And I want to know.
Right.
I want to know because I want them to be as healthy as they can be. I think that's how parents think about their kids.
Point. I want vets and veterinary technicians to listen. I mean, what we're really trying to say is pet owners want to know, and they deserve it. I mean, they deserve our best effort. So we got to overcome it, ask permission, make sure that we don't lead with obesity and let it derail the examination, and then be respectful. Anything else?
Yeah, if the owner says no, you have to accept it.
Absolutely, because not everybody is ready to begin that journey that day. And one of the things I try to stress to veterinarians is, just because they say no today doesn't mean they're going to say no forever.
That's right, because things change in our lives, and our attitudes, some don't change, but some do. So I'd absolutely say it's a good thing to bring it, try again.
Makes it all happen.
Yeah, the magazine and everything. Your weight matters.
All right, I've just finished giving my presentation at OAC. Wow, what an amazing audience. But I think most importantly, the fact that this community exists, it's a safe place. I mean, this is an area where everybody gets it. Everybody gets that obesity is a disease. Everybody understands that we have to do more. We have to do better. Everybody really appreciates that it needs to be treated respectfully because weight bias is real and we can fix that. So what an honor, what a privilege. I got to tell you, I hate to have to leave at this point, but I got to go to another thing, which we'll talk about later. But wow, OAC, Your Weight Matters. Thank you so much for having me. What an amazing event. We'll see you soon. Got to go catch a plane.